Welcome to the Bethel Culture Podcast. We'll see if this video actually turns out halfway decent. If not, I'll just cut this audio part out and it'll just sound like normal. We welcome you to hopefully be influenced, inspired, and
Informed.
Yeah. I couldn't remember
It's
the
like
last
the first one.
Yes. Well, that's why there's three of us. My name, I didn't forget my name. My name is Weston Oxley. I am one of the pastors on staff here at Bethel, and I'm joined with
Damon Reed. I am the interim director of youth ministries here at Bethel.
And I'm Kevin Fogarty, one of the pastors at the church. Today we thought it'd be a fun idea to just discuss our various vacations that were going on this summer. Talk about the best, the worst. A lot of you are going on vacation this summer, and I know we miss a lot of you when you're not at church various weeks, but it's kind of hit or miss during the summertime because teachers are off and vacations are planned. And so we all recently, Weston and I went on vacation recently.
Not together.
Wait, do you call summer camp vacation, Damon?
I would call summer camp a form of vacation.
A form of it. Okay, that's well said. Yeah, it's not fully relaxing, but we'll start with the best, maybe.
Oh no! First, we'll get to worst best and the worst best segment but for now, let's just start off this summer vacation plans or what has been accomplished. So, Kevin, you were most recent. Mm-hmm. Where did you guys go? What did you guys do?
We went to West Palm Beach, Florida, with all of Steph's family. So we had aunts and uncles and cousins and grandma and grandpa. And we were at a resort that was resort, then it was like pools and everything, games, mini golf that was blocked off because they were fixing it and updating it, and then it was the ocean. So we had a cool setup there. Yeah, we didn't really leave the resort very often besides to get groceries and go out to eat here and there. So we had everything we needed right there.
Pretty cool.
Nice. And Damon, no family vacation. You're at the weird age. I mean, our kids are starting to get there too. We keep wondering when's the last time we can actually have like all our kids go on vacation. There's no family vacation plan this summer, or is there?
Well, right now there's something in the works as to, like, they said we are doing something. I didn't know whether or not I was going to be able to go or not, but there is something to where they want to go to, like, up to the border up in Canada and do stuff there, go to a baseball game, and then see Niagara Falls or something along the lines of that, and do some hiking and stuff up there. But as of right now, there is something in the works for a vacation.
Something in the works. Summer's not that much longer, so
quick.
yes. Oxley's had an incredible vacation. We went out to California, hit the big national parks we really wanted to take our boys to. A lot of you who know us know we're big into hiking and camping and everything like that. So we've done a lot of national parks over the years. But Amy and I, coming from California, we loved, especially Yosemite. We used to take our high school students to a camp up in the Sierra Nevadas, the Yosemite type valley area. It's called Hume Lake. It's a huge camp. It's actually where I learned to do camp movie things. They would have 1,000 high school students and 500 junior hires, and it's gigantic. And so actually when we took the boys, we actually took them through the camp and showed them the camp a little bit, because we have pictures that we would always take by the lakes. We took a little family picture and things like that. But we did Sequoia National Park, Kings Canyon National Park, which are pretty similar, and then Yosemite National Park. We did a day kind of in San Francisco, a day at Pismo Beach, and both in and out we saw some family and stuff in Southern California, and that was our trip. And again, it's always the question, will this be the last summer that all our kids go on vacation together, and things of that nature. But that's our basic summer updates. Curious, we're going to have comments available now for YouTube. Curious what you all did on your vacations, what you have planned, what you have accomplished. I know not everybody necessarily goes on vacation, and some of that is a variety of issues there. So vacation can be hit or miss. So let's go into one of our segments we're calling Worst Best. So we want to start with the worst and with the best. So in Worst Best, give us, let's start each three the worst. what's the worst either vacation you've been on or vacation experience? What's the worst that you've done or had? Could be, and obviously you just basically have your kid options. Kevin, could be you of what you've done with your family or what you did when you were growing up. And either of those. While you're both thinking that, I'll share mine because I have mine ready. Um, Worst kind of camp situation. So we've done a lot of tent camping. That's kind of our cheap way to actually go all the places we want to go on our budget and everything. And we didn't realize this. We've been using this one tent for almost 10 years, and it had served us really well. And we'd set the tent up. We were in Colorado. We were on our way to California. We're in Colorado, sent the tent up, everything. We said, hey, let's go in. I don't remember if we try to often get a local pizza thing if we can, or maybe we were just going to do our shopping to buy hot dogs, something we went in town for. And thought we'll come back out, we'll start the fire, everything. It started to rain some, but that's okay. Everything was put away and in the tent. We come back and I open up the tent and it's just about dusk, right? It's about to be dark. We're like, we got to hurry here, get the fire going. And the air mattress, Amy and I sleep on an air mattress, none of the boys did, is floating in the tent. Sleeping bags are floating, pillows are floating.
Oh no.
Because if you have a tent, the bottom layer is designed to hold back the water in case there's groundwater. But if water gets in, it also then holds in the
Swallows it
water.
all in.
Quality tent
And
right there.
yes, it turns out, and I thought maybe I just hadn't done things right. There was a seam that hadn't been stitched right in the rain fly, and it was a pretty consistent drip, which wouldn't have been too bad if we'd been in the tent. We probably could have managed it or taped it or something like that. We'd been gone for several hours, and it had filled up. So we had, again, 5 boys plus us in a minivan. We're not going to sleep in the minivan. So we gather them all up. It's like 8 o'clock. Found a Motel 6. I think the only room available was like one queen bed. So we had the kids all on the floor and Amy was managing them. And I took all our wet stuff to a laundromat and spent hours running it in those big dryer things. And it was not fun.
Oh man,
Not
sleeping on the
fun.
Motel 6 floor is a great experience, I'm sure.
Yes, for the
just
most
give
part,
me a water bed and the tent.
the kids,
float 'em with
yeah,
that.
you know what? Yeah, Amy and I probably could have floated on the air mattress just fine, but the rest of the kids were not going to. And actually, that's the third time. We've had 3 times we've been rained out of a
Oh
tent,
man.
unfortunately. So, including one where we ended up. Actually, I don't think we threw that tent away. I tried to repair the seam unsuccessfully. So
Dang.
it's just I had never realized that we hadn't ever actually camped in the rain.
Tenting in rain or not, your guys' best friends. Jeez. 3 times.
Yes. Usually it's because we were using older tents. Caleb and Aiden stayed in a little tent with a issue with it, and they just hunkered down where Amy and I and the 3 younger ones actually slept in the van. We were camping with some friends of ours, and so we couldn't really go anywhere on that one. And that wasn't great either, but it wasn't as bad as the floating, trying to get a pillow dry and a sleeping bag dry is actually, so camper people, you know what I'm talking about. Now, there have been plenty of times that we've camped in the rain and everything went just fine. You can really hear the rain, and if it's lightning and thunder, you hear that all very clearly, and it wakes everybody up and can freak out your kids. But all the funs of camping. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's my worst experience. Who's
Yeah.
next?
I'll go next. So my family, we like to go to South Dakota because my dad's family just lives down there, and so we've gone there, I think 3 times now. And one of the things that we always do is we go hiking on this trail up to the place called Harney Peak, which is like I think 2,300 feet elevation, something like that. It's pretty high up. It's kind of cool. But the first time that we did it, we wanted to do kind of the easier route because we weren't very good at hiking. We'd never done it before, that kind of thing. And so the route that we were planning to go on, was about a 3-mile round trip kind of thing where we were going to just go up there, see the sights, and then come back down. But somewhere along the way, we were walking up, and as you've gone hiking before, you don't just keep walking all the time. You kind of just stop and eat lunch or something, that kind of thing. And we had stopped for lunch, and we kind of forgot which way we were going. And we took a turn where we weren't supposed to take a turn. And it ended up being that we turned on to the more advanced hiking trail, which was a 10-mile trip up to the mountain. And so we ended up going about probably 6 miles in. It was like 3 hours later. We're like, we're not getting anywhere near the top of this mountain. And then when people start coming down and like, yeah, we had to camp out because there was a storm that happened last night, and we had to bring our tents up and kind of stay the night up here. And we're like, what trail are we on? And so we look at the map, and turns out we're on the most advanced trail up there, where it's 10 miles up and 10 miles back. And we are in the middle of that trail. And so we have to walk. We decided not to go up anymore because we're not going to make it by the end of the day, and we did not bring our tents or anything. And so we turned back around. We basically run down the hill. And the thing about hiking that I never knew about was like the pain in your legs afterwards, that if you've never done it before. It was like severe growing pains that I've never had before. It was absolutely terrible because we walked 3 hours there, didn't even make it, 3 hours back, and then I'm in terrible pain for the rest of the day. But the next day we ended up going. But
Okay, I was like, did you ever hike again after that?
yeah, we ended up going the next day, and we were there in no time at all. But it was, oh my goodness, that bad turns are a bad thing for if you're not ready for it. That's for sure. But yeah, it was bad.
It does help to know where you're going, for sure. You got to stick to the path. What about you, Kevin? Worst vacation experience?
Yeah, this is going to be triggering for my wife. So if you are listening, you might want to just fast forward a little bit. So this was 3 summers ago, summer of 2022. Our whole family and Steph's family was going to Cancun, Mexico for my in-laws. Do you remember this story?
Yeah, I remember this.
Their 40th wedding anniversary. They were doing a vow renewal, so they asked me to kind of officiate that. So the whole family's going down. We have outfits picked out. We're going to take beach pictures. They hired, like catering and a photographer and everything for this one evening that we're all going to be at the resort that they have some hotel or timeshare points for. Mm-hmm. So it's actually the same place Steph and I went on our honeymoon. So a lot of good memories there. And so my wife is super organized. Like, she's on top of it more than anyone I've ever met. And so we've traveled a ton. We've gone on cruises. So obviously you need your passport for all those places that you go outside of the U.S. And so we just never really think to check on the dates for those passports and whatnot. So this trip was booked for, I don't know, a year or so, at least 6 months in advance. We had gotten the whole family to set aside a week and go to Cancun. And the night before we leave, maybe it was a day or two, but Steph opens all the passports and looks at the date on hers, and it was like already 4 to 6 months expired. And so, obviously, worried, freaking out, and just calling everyone, I don't think I can go. And she's like, everyone can just go without me, which I'm like, I'm not going to go without you. That's ridiculous. So they were like, well, let's just go to the airport the next day. Let's just see what they say, see if there's any way around this, like bring your birth certificate and all this other stuff, and maybe that'll suffice. And so we get there, and, she gets to the counter, and the lady's really nice, and she's like, oh, honey, it's okay. We'll get you on the plane. Like, obviously we see you are who your ticket says you are. And so, man, were we relieved. Like, this is going to happen. We didn't ruin the vacation and all this stuff. And then we get on the plane, fly to Mexico, and we're unloading everything and going through customs. And then we get up there, and one guy's like, 1 second, and like he goes and talks to someone, comes back and is like, we can't let you in, essentially. Like, you have this expired passport. She's like, what are you going to do? Like, send us back? And I was like, don't say that. They might actually send us. That's exactly what they did. So we had to go to this room and where they talked to us, and we were just like, we're just here for, this wedding thing, and we have to get back. And so they weren't buying it. We had to get on like the next plane back to back to Chicago.
And where were your kids at this point?
So they're all just waiting for us. Like we're in this room, special room with the, I don't know, the police, the Mexican police. And so we're just, she's like,
So you're
well,
separated from your 3 kids, or did you have family travel?
Close. They're close. Like we can talk to them still. So yeah, Sayla's 3 at this point. So it was 3 and 6 and 8. So that was our kids. And so I was like, I'm not letting you fly home alone. So like her and I get back on a plane, and they're like escorting her everywhere, like she's some sort of terrorist that's come to break into the country. Yeah, but
with the kids.
No, so I went back with Stephanie, and we left the kids with her parents and her brother and sister and all that.
You were able to hand them off to them.
Yeah, and they had a blast. They were spoiled the whole time while, we were calling our Congress people and senators and all this stuff, trying to be like, hey, our kids are in Mexico. Please get us an updated passport. And there's this weird like process you go through for all that. And somehow a couple of days later, we got that all worked out, got a new passport, got a new ticket, went to Mexico, and we're there for, I think, 3 days instead of the full, 7. So
did you miss the picture opportunity?
No, they moved that to a day where we could still do that whole thing. And so we didn't get to have to miss any of that. But still, anytime we go to travel anywhere, Steph, I think, gets a little bit of that worry or fear, something's going to happen. They're going to send us back and ruin vacation. But
I will take a rainy tent over what you just described anytime.
It wasn't fun. Yeah. So, and yeah, just the worst.
All right. Well, since we kind of went this way, can we go this way on the best? Are you ready for your best?
Yeah. So the best was obviously my honeymoon at that same place, same resort in Cancun, Mexico. I was just reminiscing with my boys over that recently. I don't know why we got telling this story, but we had gotten 2 slushies or something from that place, and then we went swimming in the ocean. Steph didn't really like hers, so I essentially drank 2 slushies, an orange and a red. And then we went swimming, and a big wave came in. I got spun upside down underwater and swallowed some salt water, and then just had to, that slushy's coming up. And so Steph's like, are you okay? She saw I was starting to throw up, and then it was red and yellow everywhere. And I was like, run for your life, run, hide, save yourself. And she's trying to come near, but also avoid the massive, floating grossness that was there. But that's not why it was the best vacation. That's just a memory I was sharing with my kids.
I was going to say, so your best vacation was vomiting.
That was just one bad moment from an awesome trip. We did every excursion. We did the ship that takes you out, and you get surf and turf dinner, and then there's a show and all that. So we did that. We drove little motorboats around, and we had a great time on our honeymoon. Highly recommend if you're getting married soon to go away somewhere, with your new spouse. So.
All right, Damon. So yeah, you can't share your best as your potential or your future honeymoon. So what is your best vacation experience that you've had so far?
Here today, I was gonna say I hope my honeymoon's going to be my favorite vacation story. But I mean, we've gone on a lot of vacations just growing up, and big ones like South Dakota. Like I said, that's always a great one to go to. Disney World recently has been a great one recently. But one of my favorite trips that we went on was the first time that we went to South Dakota. We went to a place called Jenny Gulch, which is where my dad grew up, and this is where him and his friends used to go, and they used to cliff dive off of these huge 75-foot cliffs into the water down below. And he took us there, and so this was the first time we went. And the first time we went, I was way too scared to actually jump off of the cliff. I was sitting in the boat while my 75-year-old grandpa is jumping off the cliff, and my dad is jumping off the cliff, and my brothers, I think Donovan jumped off the cliff at that point. But that was the first time we went. The first time we went, I was in the boat fishing, and it was super easy because the water is super clear there, and so you're able to literally just like pick what fish you want and just kind of drop the reel in, the line in there, and just pick up the fish. There's a lot of stories within this story, and so all of those fish that I caught, my dad had this little thing that you put through the gills to kind of just store on the side of the boat. And we kind of left them on the side of the boat for the whole day, just so that they just swim around. I don't know what they do down there when they're in there. But we forgot about them. And so we just got on the boat and just took off on the boat. And we once we get back to the dock, we remember that we put the fish out there, and we pick up the thing, and it's just like covered in like fish guts all down the inside of it, because all the fish were just like ripped off of the thing. That was just something within the story. It was really crazy because I was so disappointed because I caught like 12 fish that day. But the next time we went, we went to the same exact spot. I got the guts to actually get out of the boat and go onto the cliff. And let me tell you, looking off of a 75-foot cliff is actually insane. It looks a lot higher than it is. And I eventually jumped off of the cliff, and it hurts to hit the bottom of the water. I didn't know that, by the way. It felt like I was like hitting the ground when I hit the water. But I really like this trip because I used it a lot for sermon illustrations. Because the first time I didn't get out of the boat. And then the second time I did get out of the boat, and I took that leap of faith off the side of the cliff. I like to
the
use
boat, leap of faith. That'll preach.
Yeah. I was about to say, it's such a good preaching line. But also, it was just a really cool experience because I got to see like my dad's childhood, and then my grandpa also like parenting my dad through that time, and just like, yeah, I do this all the time. My grandpa would literally just go up there and walk off the edge. Like it was like nothing for him. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. One of probably the scariest things I've ever done. Jumping off of that. One day I'll skydive. My dad chickened out the last time we tried to do it, but he bought me a pickleball paddle though. So
slide that in there. That in there.
So skydiving's next, but yeah.
Gotcha. And 70, like I think I've jumped off a couple cliffs, maybe 40, 50 feet, and those are pretty, and it always looks way worse from the top. You're
It's
looking
so
up at it and you're like,
intimidating.
okay. You see someone jump off it, you're like, so you just jump.
Yeah.
And then you get up there and
Yeah, and one of the times when we were up there, there was a little kid that was doing it, and I was standing in line waiting for it, and another little kid kind of just starts running behind me, and he slips like towards the edge, and we're like, oh no, that kid's going to die. But luckily, he didn't die.
that's good. That's good.
Didn't fall off the edge.
Please, for our viewers, let's make
He
sure
was
that
okay. Very scary, but yeah.
Well, I've had a hard time even just trying to think which ones are best, and I think I'd even run it by Amy, but I don't know if I still have it in my head. So Amy, you may want to comment with a different one. Um, but I would probably say when we did kind of a loop of driving out to Yellowstone, doing the Grand Tetons and Glacier and the Badlands, and as much fun as it was to do a lot of what we did when our kids were younger, just as they've gotten older, it's been even more fun to hang out with. And so getting to see all of those great places, you get to see, I mean, just the landscape, obviously Old Faithful and waterfalls and geysers and cliffs and mountains and mountain goats and grizzly bears and, things like that. But just that trip in particular kind of stands out. It's close seconds probably in 2020 we went and did Boundary Waters where you're really out in the middle of nowhere, and that was pretty fun too. But those epic level of national parks and just traveling with our kids and things like that, which that's the part when I want to hit on our next segment we call Redeeming the World, where we take a worldly element and how to apply the gospel to it. And so want just to have you guys chime in on what does it look like to redeem vacations? Like, are vacations just, selfish opulence of, we get to do what we want and things like that? What does it look like for for a Christian, for someone a follower of Jesus in redeeming vacations. And so I'll start again here on this end of one of the things that you can tie it to the Sabbath, and maybe some of you guys do. I think there's good connection. Some of you guys will say that, but as I think about, and this is the advocation I always make for camping. Zach Clunt called me a number of months ago, and Weston, sell me on camping. What's the, you're going to be in the dirt, and just it's grimy, and it's hot, and why camping? And I said, there's just something when you're in that downtime, right? You got no cell service, you're sitting around the campfire, you've had all this extended time together, you get past just kind of the fun parts of the conversation, you start having serious conversations. And when I think of Deuteronomy 6 and what it means to when you lie down, when you walk along the way, when you've been hiking all day, when you've been spending that much time together, the amount and opportunity you have to have spiritual formation conversations with your kids and your family, it just seems to hit a different level in that kind of vacation space. And I think especially in that camping space, because when there's less distractions and you're more together and you get over that initial hump of all that kind of stuff, it just seems like more spiritual conversations and significant conversations, life conversations, lesson conversations, conversations about history and your parents growing up, and retelling the story of throwing up slushies, and just those things come out in those spaces that just don't come out anywhere else. Yes, can you have those conversations? Should you have those conversations in the normal day-to-day life? Absolutely. But there's just something in a unique space about that kind of downtime that I think happens in a way it doesn't happen anywhere else. So that's how I've always kind of viewed the extra redeeming level of not only vacation, but camping.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I would even take that as, because I always like talking about like the car rides up to vacations. Even that's like a lot of where like lot of really good conversations with my dad happened. And I think I think the drive up to vacation is almost just as important as the vacation itself, because you're all trapped in a car, forced to talk to each other. It's kind of like camping. You're stuck in a tent,
Yep.
forced to talk to each other a little bit. And I mean, there's always those room for the arguments and all that kind of stuff.
That happens
but,
too. Yes. Yes.
happened a lot actually in our car. But I mean, I remember there's so many just great conversations with my mom and dad, just along that car ride up to South Dakota or down to Florida, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's always a good spot for conversations like that. But I always see vacation as one of those things that like brings my family together. I mean, I made the joke about how my favorite vacation story was about me having the sermon illustration, being able to jump off the cliff. But like, I think there's the redeeming quality of that is too, you can like really take what you did on vacation and try and find as much as you can from the gospel in that. Like Devin and I, we constantly talk about how like Disney World is one of those places that you can like go to and truly be happy, and like we can always relate that back to the church or something, and just how we as a family were able to just have joy together and truly just like kind of let go of what we're doing back at home and just really enjoy each other's presence. And I think that's kind of just a way, like us as Christians, as believers and that kind of thing, as a church, we should be able to just have joy being with each other, just in those moments. And I think vacation kind of brings out those moments more than just, I don't know, doing a dinner or something. It's just more of a intentional time for you to genuinely enjoy being around your fellow believers and family. So,
And we're all obviously going to have plenty of unintentional time, and
yeah.
we're called to do that too. But there's something about that intentional time. All right, Kevin.
I always think of the verse, Psalm 19:1 says, "The heavens declare the glory of the Lord, the sky above his handiwork." And I love going to other places where you get that fresh perspective of how small you are, how big, how great God is, as you can get outside the city lights of Galesburg and you can see more of the stars in the sky, and just how tiny we are, how big and great and grand is the Lord our God. And it kind of resets that for me. One of the things we did when we went in March to South Carolina was we woke all the older kids up. We went and stayed at a pastor house with the Wingos, and we woke all the older kids up really early before the sun came up and said, "Hey, we're going to go see the sunrise on the beach." And so we brought them out and shared some verses, had some like alone prayer time, and we didn't tell them about it ahead of time. It was all a surprise, and so it was really special to just do that with some of the older kids and just try to give them that perspective of, if God knows how many grains of sand are on this beach, but not just that beach, but every beach in the world, if he knows all of that, like, how much does he know about you? How much does he care about you? And so just going through some of those scriptures with them is super special. So it's always, a way to reflect on that and then hopefully come back recharged and ready to jump back into life as usual.
Absolutely. Well, that gives you guys the breakdown of current vacations, our worst, best, and redeeming vacations. So, would love to know in the comments what your vacation summer plans have been or are going to be, or maybe your worst and best. And hope as you seek out vacations in those intentional times that you're able to bring the gospel into those spaces as well. So, for our first video podcast, this is us signing off.